So what's up?
So I've been following this case for a long time. So I was really excited to see that they caught somebody. And I know they've been talking about the three main victims, but have you heard of the victim, Shannon Gilbert?
Let me see. When it comes to the Long Island?
Yeah.
No, I don't see Shannon Gilbert on the photos of all the
I
people.
know. Yeah, they're not
So,
talking about her right now,
r- okay, was she was
but
she
she, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I she is like key to this whole thing because she was a sex worker that was hired to go out to a party on the road where the bodies were found on that same stretch of road. And I believe she was found in May, or no, she went missing in May. And the victims that they're talking about now went missing after her. And she was at this party, and supposedly there were like a lot of maybe high-ranking officials, some important people at this party, and something went down. She made a 911 call, and actually, you can look up the 911 call. It was released a long time ago,
Really?
and she ran out of this house like running for her life, knocked on some neighbors' doors, it appeared like she was being chased. She had a driver that took her to this party, and so there's always been some suspicions around that. And then she went
Hmm.
missing. And then
When was
because they were
this?
looking for her, this was May to 2010, I believe, and I think the victims they're talking about are mostly also 2010, except for one, I think is 2007.
So, it's towards the end of or cuz see, I'm not really familiar with it. I just checked out that video there for a second. Now, let me see here. Let me look at the photo here. So that was in 2010, you said.
Uh-huh. And because they were looking for her, they didn't find her right away. They found these other victims that they are now charging the
Oh,
Tourman
that's
for.
right. Yeah, cuz I remember hearing that. Okay, cuz they started looking for one, but then they started discovering all of these other victims. So Shannon, what was her last name?
Gilbert.
Gilbert?
Mm-hmm.
And so but they haven't found her remains then, right? So it was, yeah, in the midst of all these 2010, 2010, 2011, 2011.
Right.
S- But I don't see her name on the list, so they haven't identified any of. She hasn't been identified yet. Then, are they? Well, this took place. Are they still continuing right now to search it? Is it still a live, active search, or?
I'm not sure about that. Like, I've listened to, I sent
Oh,
you an
they did
email.
find her.
There's a podcast. I'm sorry, they found what?
Oh, somebody typed in, yes, they did find her. And they think that there's multiple.
Oh, there's so many more bodies. They have unidentified bodies still.
No, I mean multiple SKs.
Oh, yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it is like possibly some kind of network or something, huh?
I've always thought that whole scenario at that house just seems so suspicious. There's also, the reason why they had to put that task force in place was because I think it was a police chief that they had. I think his name was James Burke. He actually was arrested for something else, like some corruption, something. I don't know exactly what it was, but he was in charge, and he was like allegedly like specifically placed in that position during this time, long ago. And it seems like they collected a lot of evidence, but then they just never did anything with it. They just never really did a good investigation and seemed to always block the investigation. They kicked out the FBI. They wouldn't let the FBI help.
What?
So oh yeah.
They kicked out the FBI. Why wouldn't you want the FBI's help in this?
Exactly.
What was their?
And
What was it? Do you know what the reason was? Like why they had to have had a press conference or something, right? Like what they we can handle this on our own. If we need help, we'll ask for it or something. Or
they might have said there is a press conference with a senator from New York, and I can't remember his name. But I looked up Long Island serial killer press conference, I think, and it was from 2 years ago. And there's a senator, and he calls all that out. He called it all out 2 years ago.
Whoa.
Yeah, he dropped names. He went off.
Whoa. And this was 2 years ago, huh?
Uh-huh. And I wonder if that's when, people like him started making such a big stink that they got the task force going.
Oh. So this is maybe like possibly some kind of network where there's a lot of same career path individuals as the suspect.
Possibly solved. At the very least.
Streamyard is bugging. I apologize.
At the very least, probably involved with like these parties they were having.
Important people in the community, I mean. Huh.
Yep.
I apologize. Streamyard is bugging. I can hear it. So I apologize to chat as well if it's acting crazy. I still see we're not on mute on either side, so we're still good. So how long have you been like kind of into this case?
So my husband and I are really avid documentary. We watch lots of documentaries and lots of true crime. So years and years and years, I've just been following all the cases. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Like I just walk, put in my earbuds and listen to different ones. There's a podcast called Unraveled by Alexis Linkletter and Billy Jensen.
Okay.
And their whole season 1 is all about this case. And I feel they were even credited on some of these news broadcasts lately with helping with this.
Really? Oh, wow. Kind of like how the murder sheet helps with Delphi and stuff. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, that's cool. Case was huge.
Yeah. So I don't know. They just always find it.
Always find it what? I'm sorry. StreamYard is not
interesting. I just true crime.
Well, I have a question because it was something I kind of wanted to learn as I'm watching this video here. So do you know about the DNA, how they obtained the DNA? Is it pizza or something? How did they obtain it? What, is it sketch? Like does it sound like this is the dude from the DNA? Like what's it being reported? Do you know? Is there anything being reported other than they just used a pizza box?
It sounds like they were following him for a while. And I also heard they were very concerned for the protection of the women who would be out on, out on the streets or out in the air. Like, they knew the area. So I think they were trying to really protect them. And then, so if they were following him, it sounds like, I think they got the actual like pizza crust that he had been eating inside the box, I think.
Oh, so they used a bitten piece of pizza to get DNA off of, to then link him to DNA that was at the scene with these remains, or
I think so, because they said, I think the DNA from the scene was from the hairs, right?
the hairs?
Yeah, they found his hair, and I also said they believed maybe his wife's hair, which is making them think maybe he had them in his house.
Oh, so he would have them over.
And that kind of makes sense. He was waiting for his wife to go out of town.
Whoa. Something to do with Craigslist?
Yes, I heard one of the it's not a pop name, but I think they called him the Craigslist Ripper.
Oh. I remember, because I used to, back in, 2010, around that area, I used to like buy stuff off Craigslist and then resell it for profit. And, I was always looking for deals, finding things real cheap and then flipping it for what it's worth. And that's when all that stuff, because in Akron there was somebody that was using, and I think they just call him the Craigslist K, with an R. Because he was fake. It was in Barberton, a part of Akron, and he was fake, like putting out ads for property management or whatever, for some property way out in the boonies, and he would take these people out there and he would unalive them out there. And one of them actually got away, and that's how everybody started to get caught and what was going on. And the dude was right down the road. And after that started happening, I backed the F up off Craigslist. I was like, yo, ain't no Nintendo Wii is worth losing. I backed off of Craigslist. So it definitely had an impact. So yeah, it was around that same time period where Craigslist was really like, you didn't know. You know what I mean? It was, yeah, definitely. So, okay, that makes sense that it somehow. So now I'm seeing somebody said, don't waste the pizza crust. I love pizza crust too. But so was there a hair on the pizza crust, or was it like saliva? I see.
Yeah, I think they probably had a DNA, what do you call it? They identified a person from the DNA on the hair from the girls. So I think his hair was on the girls.
Right.
And then they probably matched it to his DNA
hair on the pizza. Hair on the pizza or something. Wow. And then his wife's hair too. His wife's hair too on the victims. That's crazy. Now, so the reason they think that there might be multiple people is because they found other male DNA on these victims as well that they haven't identified yet. Is that because the guy's saying he didn't do it? So I'm like, okay.
Right. Originally, they thought it might be at least two different people, because the bodies were found in two distinct groups. Like, I guess there's multiple beaches in that area.
Okay.
So a group of victims were found further away, like, I don't know, a few miles or however far away it was, in a different location. And I think they were also caged differently or
Oh, okay.
placed, like they didn't match, you know?
Because some of them, if I'm not mistaken, because I cover a whole bunch of different cases, even though, if I'm not covering it on a show, I'm still covering it in my mind. Some of these were wrapped in burlap, right? Is that this? Or am I thinking of something else?
No, you're right. And I
Okay.
just heard that talking about that, because I was picturing that too. Like I was thinking like in a burlap bag, right? Like something like that. But they said no, it was a special kind of tape, like a burlap tape. And they said it was a camouflage. So it would
What?
blend in with the surroundings. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Tape?
Like a
Burlap.
tape or a binding or something. It was used as like the binding.
Oh, wow.
And they said it was camouflaged.
Really? So it was like very strategic from
Uh-huh.
this stuff had to be totally planned out way in advance, I would imagine.
Oh yeah.
Before you even so now because I did see something a couple days ago, or it might have been yesterday, where it was somebody that was on their bike, a female that was on their bike, that reported an incident to PD about her creepy experience with this individual. And so it makes you wonder, is that the location? I guess maybe mixed with Craigslist. Is that also a location where, but this was recent from this lady, right? So okay, hold on. This picture of all of these victims on that beach are from 2010, 2011. He's doing this now. What did he do? Pick a new location and he's been going this whole time? It could be way freaking more than what we could even imagine.
Right.
What?
I think that guy moved there or something about 1986. Or maybe he started working in New York in 1986 as his architect job. And then I think this started happening in something about 97 is popping out. I don't know if it was that early, if there's a victim that early. But I know it goes back to the early 2000s.
Whoa, man,
yeah,
and it's
been happening for a
2023.
while.
So all this could have been going on for 20 years, and we're just
Yep.
finding a couple years maybe, because it might be more that time period too, a couple year section of a 20 some year period.
Yep.
And this is one small area of a freaking beach, not to mention where else. And if you going into that kind of effort to camouflage what you did.
Yep. And that beach is not like a, go spend the day and lay out on the beach. It's like a marshy area.
So there's a reason. Because
Yeah.
nobody would really go there. Yeah, it was meant so these people their remains would dwindle to basic. Man, man, this is, oh my gosh.
Right. And it was working. That worked until Shannon got away, and that's the only reason they started searching that area. So if she would have never got away, I don't think they would have ever found anybody.
Who knows how many there could be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy crap, I didn't realize the magnitude of this. Wow.
Crazy case. Probably
yeah,
one of my top 5 wanted this one solved.
Holy
Along
crap.
with the West Memphis, you've been covering that one too. That's also one that I've seen all the documentaries about and everything. Crazy cases.
The West Memphis 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Well, maybe we can do a combo episode one night where we cover West Memphis 3 and we cover the Long Island SK in the same episode. If you'd ever like to hang out for an evening, let me know.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, reach out to me on email and let me know if you'd like to schedule an evening or an afternoon or morning if it's on a weekend. Just let me know whatever would work best for you. I'd definitely like to sit down and talk about both cases sometime. I appreciate your knowledge and your comfort calling in and hanging out. And thank you for being a part of the community. And also, she has her own channel again. Let me see. Let me get the link for that, and I'll put it in the chat so you can go sub to her. So it's you and your
Thank
husband, right? That
yeah, it's our personal story that we tell.
Okay.
Kind of crazy, but we are telling our story to try to help others. So
That's awesome. And that's amazing
thanks
that you do.
for letting me call in. And I did email you. I sent you a link to that podcast I was talking about.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's schedule and whatever time, and let's go into that. So just let me know an evening this week or a morning, afternoon, or evening this weekend that you can hang out for 2 or 3 if you're able to, and your husband as well. If he would like to hop up, if he covers them too, more than welcome. I'd like to hang out and definitely
Yeah,
talk
maybe
about
we'll
these.
both join together.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to go
Yep.
ahead and do that. And here's the channel, typically unique. And thank you again for hopping up. I appreciate it. Mhm. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Dang, Streamyard. Come on. All right. Thank you so much. And then again, there's her YouTube, her and her husband's YouTube channel, typically unique. Go sub if you don't mind. Check it out. Yeah, that's going to be neat. Her and her husband join the show for whatever time works out, and we can talk about both these cases. It's going to be really cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you all for your comfort and, just being a part of the community, even if it's just hanging out and chat. Totally appreciate it.